the year is 1991, I believe, and it's summertime, and I am spending the summer. My summer job is digging clams on the mudflats in Maine, and my friends and I get wind that there's a concert that's coming up in the middle of July, Guns N' Roses and Aerosmith. It's a double bill. And we really want to go to see this show. But the problem is digging clams doesn't pay that much money for us. Just to give you an idea of how digging clams works, the great thing about digging clams for a living is that you make your own schedule. You don't have a boss. You go out when the tide's low. You go and you stick this rake in the mud. It's really sticky mud, and you pull it up. And you look for these clams, and you get it comes out to about a nickel a clam. So if you're really good at it, you can make a lot of money. But my friends and I were not really good at it, and we didn't make a lot of money. So we were trying to think. We had this plan, like the tickets were going on sale, and our plan was that we needed to make enough money to get the tickets and to have a good time when we were going to go down to Foxborough where the concert was. And so there was this bay in our town called Middle Bay, and it was a restricted bay, which meant that you weren't allowed to dig clams there. And the reason is because there was a naval air base right around that bay, and so the mud flats around the naval air base were restricted, meaning you weren't allowed to go there for whatever. We didn't know why you weren't allowed to go there, but you were told that you could not dig clams in the restricted mud flats. But we figured out that there, not just about at the same time the tickets were going on sale, there was a low tide that was happening around midnight, which meant it would be dark. And so our plan was to sneak out to these mud flats, and we were going to dig clams in the restricted area. And because it was a restricted area, the clams were going to be abundant and large, and we were going to get enough so that we could buy tickets to the Guns N' Roses Aerosmith concert. So we wait until it's dark, and we put on headlamps, and we go out, and we sneak out, and we're creeping out in the sticky mud, and it's quiet, and the mud is just flat and serene, and we start digging with our headlamps on, and these clams that we're finding are giant. They're like normally when you're digging clams, about 1 out of every 3 is big enough to keep, but every clam we get is huge, and we're filling up our buckets. Like each bucket is about $25, and we fill up a bucket, and we fill up another bucket, and we're like we're rich. This is it. We've hit the mother lode, and everything just seems great. We're gonna go see Axl Rose and Slash, and everything's gonna be great. And then all of a sudden, boom! These floodlights come on, and it becomes like daylight on the mud flats, and we're all just standing there in our hip boots, and it's just bright daylight, and my friends say, "Run!" And everyone starts running, but it's really like thick, deep mud, and so running, it's like that dream you have when you can't quite run. You're like, and I'm running, and my hip boot comes off, and so now I'm barefoot on one foot, and my friends are much faster than me. They're just running and running, and they all make it to the shore, and the lights are on, and I'm stranded. I'm left behind. And the lights are on, and I'm like flat there on the mud, and I'm just thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna get busted by the U.S. military here. I'm trespassing on restricted grounds. And then, like from the sky comes this huge, this giant. It looks like a UFO. It's this huge thing. It's just coming down slowly, and the lights. And it has like this radar disc on top of it, and it's coming down, and I'm like, God, they're like really making a lot of effort for a bunch of kids like digging clams in the mud flats in front of, and it's coming down. It seems like it's hovering over the mud flats, and it comes down, and I'm waving. I'm going, it's okay. I'm not like I think they're gonna shoot me or something, and then this plane comes down, and it just lands on the runway, which is right in front of the mud flats, and I realize that the lights just came on because this naval airplane came down and landed, and then boom, the lights go off, and I'm sitting there on the mud flats, and my friends are gone, and we have all these clams. So I gather them up, and I put them in a pile, and then the tide starts to come in. So it's this rush to get all these clams, and we have enough clams, I believe, to get these tickets to the Guns N' Roses concert. So I gather them up, and I'm yelling to my friends. I'm like, come back, I've got the clams. And finally I gather them up, and I pull them all to the shore, and finally my friends come back just as the sun's rising, and we go and we sell those clams, and we make $450 on those clams, which is more than we ever made. And we went to that Guns N' Roses concert. And we rocked the shit out of it, man. It was fucking awesome. And that's my story. Thank you.